How's it going, lads? I'm NewClues and welcome back for more of the latest VR news. In this video I will be doing another comparison. This time we have the Valve Index versus the HTC Vive Cosmos Elite. But before we continue, if you're new here and enjoy what I do consider subscribing. It's just one click and it means a lot to me. That said, on with the video. So as I always say, this is just going to be the cold hard facts, and hopefully I'm going to try and keep my opinions to myself, but I apologise if they become apparent. So then let's take a look at the headsets. Both of these headsets are of course PCVR, meaning they can only function when connected to a computer. This of course is irritating due to the wire situation, but the power and specs these headsets produce is incredible in comparison to the standalone headsets out there such as the Quest or Go. But I hear you ask, what are these specs, and is one better than the other? Well, first let's have a look at the Valve Index specs. The Valve Index has dual LCD displays, each with 1440 by 1600 pixels per eye, so it is sitting pretty high up there with the resolution. That said, I still think that headset manufacturers should be focusing on better resolution displays over anything else. The refresh rate is where the Index really shows its presence. 144Hz is the best on the VR market that I know of, and the Index field of view is also pretty good, with one of 130 degrees. It is again one of the best out there. It also houses a manual IPD adjustment slider with a range of 58mm to 70. For comfort and physical design, the Index is again one of the best. With its trademark off-ear headphone design, you get great clear sound. Along with the head strap, it gives a brilliant experience. The headset itself is really nicely designed, looks sleek, and is fully adjustable, so make sure you can wear it and it makes you comfortable. Then of course we get to the main attraction of the controllers. The Valve Knuckles are one of the most incredible pieces of tech I've seen for years. They work with full-on finger tracking, which allows you to do questionable things in VR more than before, and allowing you to fully express yourself. But again, they are really well designed, and they also have pressure sensitivity. There's a demo which Valve released in which you can crush stuff, and it's really good, and I cannot say enough how good the tracking is on these controllers. My one massive complaint with the Index is the weight, sitting at 819 grams or 1.79 pounds. It is basically impossible to play for more than an hour at a time, but that's the sacrifice you have to make for these specs. For now, that's it for the Index. Let's take a look at the Cosmos Elite. The Vive Cosmos Elite is still a pretty decent headset. It does fall short in some cases that I said. In one place it does beat the Index is the resolution. It has one of 1440 by 1700 pixels per eye. This is higher than the Index, the Rift S, and the Quest, and many other headsets. But one of the places that the Index is better is the refresh rate. Of course, the Index has the 130Hz. The Cosmos Elite sits at 90Hz, which is not the best out there by any means, but having, it's 80 is around the, the medium here, but yeah, it's not the greatest. The Cosmos Elite field of view is not bad, with one of 110 degrees. It sits above a fair amount of headsets around that of the Rift S, but is beaten by the Index with its brilliant one of 130 degrees. Then we come to the audio. Both have pretty decent audio, but in this front, the Index comes out on top. The Index, of course, has some of the best audio with that off-ear headphone design. The built-in 37.5mm audio off-ear headphones, provide, as I said, some of the best sounding audio I have seen or heard as it is on a headset so far. The Cosmos Elite has perfectly decent audio from its stereo headphones, but again, I do find the Index a bit better in this area. Both have perfectly decent microphones and will run games from Steam, that sort of thing. I'll come back to the rest of the specs for the headsets in a bit, but for now, let's take a look at the minimum computer specs that you need to run. But for this, let's take a look at the Cosmos Elite first. So you must have at least an Intel i5 4590 or AMD FX 8350 equivalent or better. Graphics card needed is NVIDIA GeForce GTX 970, 4GB of VRAM, or AMD Radeon R9 290, 4GB of VRAM, VR ready graphics card, at least 4GB of RAM, and you must be running Windows 10, so it's not that demanding. Most modern PCs can run that. Then we look at the index's minimum specs. Again, you must be running Windows 10, but with the index you can use Linux or SteamOS as well. Sadly, for you Mac users out there, no chance. Processor-wise, it is at least a dual-core processor with hyper-threading as needed, but a core processor is recommended. For memory, you need 8GB of RAM, so a bit more than the Cosmos Elite as a minimum, but more is recommended. Then the graphics card, you need at least an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 970 or AMD RX 480, but again, recommended is an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1070 or better, so graphics is around the same. Just a side note, the index is compatible with the Vive and Vive Pro wands in addition to the Valve index controllers, or the knuckles, so if you don't match those of the index or Cosmos Elite specs, then I suggest looking for something cheaper and with less demanding PC requirements such as the Rift S. But now, those things put aside, let's take a look at the two headsets as a whole. The index for me is better with its, just generally nicer tracking and smoother tracking, beats the Cosmos there. Taking into account the price, the index is definitely the one to go for if you're looking at the top of the range and you're willing to spend that sort of money on a quality product. For me, there is no point whatsoever getting the Cosmos Elite, as it just for £20 more, you can get the index, and with that £20, the Cosmos Elite sits with worse specs, worse tracking, and is just generally beaten by the index in most respected areas. That said, if you do have a Cosmos Elite, it is a perfectly decent headset. I would just recommend people to buy the index. The index, of course, does cost £919. The Cosmos Elite costs £899. So there is just a £20 difference. And when you're spending that sort of money, I would spend that little bit more and get the index. With the index being better spec-wise, and just being that £20 more, I would go for it. You have to take into account that if you're going to spend that money, you want to get the best value for the money. For me, index beats all other headsets spec-wise and outperforms the Cosmos Elite as well. The Cosmos Elite is £20 less, and it's just not quite there. So in conclusion, I would say that both headsets are good, but the index is better value for money with better specs, tracking and comfort. So there is my verdict, get the index, but I think it is just the best. It's the best for me and should be best for you. I hope this video has been useful, so if you might like some of my others. If you want to, then please consider subscribing or leaving a like. Any questions you do leave, just leave it in the comments below. That said, that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon for more of the latest VR news. Thanks, lads.